Well, many people looking to cool off spend a little time in the water as the temperatures hit the triple digits here in Kern County. And joining us this morning, we have Sergeant Zach Biddle from KCSO Search and Rescue this morning. Thanks for being here. Appreciate it.
Not a problem.
Do you have any, so let's just start off with the obvious here. Since people have been isolated for so long, now they're starting to get released. Are there any heightened concerns with your department that we're going to see a higher than normal number of people that are venturing out to our waterways?
You know, we're always on constant alert in search and rescue. We know the dangers of the river, we know its history, and so we're always on the ready to make sure that we're able to provide the community with the service that we do.
Now, when you see groups of people out there, there's a lot of families that we've seen in the past that venture out to the river. What in particular can you give as far as tips go to sort of the heads, the adults in these groups, to make sure that everyone enjoys it safely?
You know, a lot of people misunderestimate the power of the river. We know from living in this community for a long time that the river can be a very, very dangerous place if you're not prepared. So we encourage the use of life jackets that are properly worn and properly fitted. We encourage people to keep an eye on their children when they're near any body of water, not just the river, and use the common sense. You know, if it looks like it's not safe to go in the river, then just don't go in the river, and maybe think about using a local whitewater rafting company to do that.
You know, we're always talking about, as you just mentioned, the strength of the river, how fast it's flowing, how high the water level is. A lot of that as a result of the melt coming off the Sierras. Have we seen the peak of that at this point? Are we starting to go down, or is June and July the time when you see the strongest currents?
You know, I think we've seen the peak already. We had a pretty low snowpack this last winter, and with the early heat we had earlier and where we are now, we're seeing a slowdown with river flow coming into Lake Isabella. And so I think that's peaked, but I don't want people to misunderstand that just because it may be a lower flow that it's less dangerous. It's still a very dangerous place, and you still have to use extreme caution.
You know, and I've heard people have an argument that, well, when the water is higher and running faster, it's more dangerous than when it's lower. That's just a big misconception, isn't it?
Absolutely. You know, rivers are what they are. They're unpredictable, and you can't see what's underwater. You don't know what the water is doing underneath the surface. It doesn't matter if there's 5,000 cubic feet per second or 500 cubic feet per second. It can be a very dangerous place.
Will your group or members of your group be stationed around the river in some trouble spots during the 4th of July upcoming weekend? I think you have in the past.
Yes, we do. Every holiday weekend during the summer, we put people out in the Hart Park area, and we have people out at the Lake Isabella area, just to provide a faster response in the event that we have an issue and somebody needs some help.
And if somebody does have an issue, the quickest way is not to try and seek you out on your own, but to just call 911, correct?
That's correct. They should call 911, and they'll get the appropriate resources to them as fast as they can get them there.
Talking about resources and things that you have available to you, we've seen the rafts, we've seen other wave runners that have been utilized in rescue operations and whatnot. Do you have any new equipment that we don't know about?
We don't have any new equipment that we can use for rescues yet, but we are working on some things to potentially make our unit a little bit more rescue friendly, I guess, for lack of a better term. We're working on a couple things, but for now we have everything that we need to provide the top-notch service that we do as far as river rescues go.
And just wrapping it up, one final thing, one thought that you could pass along to anyone that's watching right now that is planning to head out there, what would you say?
If you're going to go to the river, please use common sense. Pay attention to the signage. Watch your children. Make sure they have a life jacket on if they're going to be close to the river. Avoid the consumption of alcoholic beverages around the river. Those two don't mix very well. And be safe. Let people know where you're going to be if you're going to go out, and use common sense when you're out there.
Sergeant Zachary Biddle, KCSO Search and Rescue. I want to thank you for joining us this morning, and best of luck out there this year.
Thank you.
All right, very good.